Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome to an update video for Planet Zoo. It feels like a really long time since we've had one of these, but I suppose it hasn't really. I suppose it's been about 3 months, which is pretty usual compared to Planet Coaster. But yeah, I don't know, it just feels like a long time since we've heard anything from them. So it's very exciting to bring to you the announcement that 1.2 is coming for free for all players on the 7th of April 2020. So around about 2 weeks away from when this video comes out, just under 2 weeks actually, which is quite exciting. This is a free update and is mostly gameplay fixes, but there is some scenery stuff in there as well. We're going to go over all of the new stuff here and have a look at what is coming to the game on the 7th of April. We are going to be covering a lot of this new stuff when we get hold of it, so if you want to see some cool Planet Zoo stuff, keep it here on Geekism. As you'll know from the past with Planet Coaster and lots of other games that we play on the channel for a long period of time, an update like this usually gives me a new lease of life in the game and we end up producing loads of content for a little while. So it'd be nice to see some Planet Zoo stuff back on the channel. More recently, there is actually going to be an episode tomorrow, a Zoo School episode tomorrow on the channel as well. It took a couple of days longer than I thought it would. But if you're watching this on the day it comes out, there's a new Zoo School coming tomorrow. Exciting stuff. Anyway, let's dive into the 1.2 update. First up is a new genealogy system. Upon selecting an animal, you'll be able to see which animals are their parents, siblings, mates, offspring. Each animal is selectable on that, and you can walk through the bloodlines. It's kind of like that DNA test you can do, the Ancestry.com thing, but for animals in the game. Very exciting. I feel like this is the sort of system that was meant to be in the game originally. If you look at the animal options, one of them looks like a little family tree image that you can click on a little tab. So I feel like this is something that maybe they had to take back a little bit and polish up a little bit before they bring it to us. But excited to see, nice to be able to look back over your animals, especially in something like a franchise zoo where you're really sort of turning through the animals. It'd be nice to be able to follow back the generations. They're bringing in new difficulty settings. I'm not sure whether people necessarily want this. People find the game easy, do they find the game hard? I don't know. As a sandbox player predominantly, I don't really notice a lot of this sort of stuff, but always nice for people to have the option. They're going to split the game into 3 difficulties: easy, medium and hard. Medium is going to basically be how the game runs currently, but the easier mode is going to make it so that the animals get less bored of enrichment items, they get less stress, things like that, and the hard mode is going to do the opposite, so animals will get bored of enrichment items quicker, guests will demand raw refunds, but on the easy mode they'll be willing to spend more money, on the hard mode they'll get the staff will get tired quicker, all sorts like that. Basically there's a sliding scale for loads of different features. If you want to make it a little bit more chilled out but still want to play with all the sort of money and management of sandbox franchise mode, or you want to really tune up that difficulty and really push yourself, you're now going to be able to have the ability, when you start up a zoo in any mode, you'll get the opportunity to choose from the 3 settings. There have been some changes to animal feeding. I know this has been one of the bugbears for a lot of people, and these changes aren't a complete do-over, if I'm completely honest, but it does seem like they're going to be fixing some of the issues that people are having with the way that keepers feed the animals in the game. They will now feed the stations in a different, more efficient manner by filling up the one that's closest to the keeper first before moving on to the next one, and so forth. The food prep has been simplified so that it'll take the same amount of time for all animals, all habitats, regardless of the number of animals, mix of species or something. Apparently in larger habitats, maybe like savanna-type habitats, the keepers would spend an age making food and it would make some of the animals hungry. Keepers now have new thoughts that they will give if they're having trouble feeding animals, so it will give you a better idea of why they're not getting the animals fed. Mixed species habitats, the animals will all be allowed to eat all of the shared food, which could stop some animals going hungry. Keepers will now sprint to and from the habitat when they've got food, and when it's needed they can sprint carrying buckets, which they couldn't do before. And babies will now cost less to feed. Currently in the game the babies cost the same amount as the adults. That can be quite difficult for creatures with large litters, or things like that pop out babies like gharials or whatever. So they're all really welcome changes. I think they're going to really sort of fine tune the issues we've been having with animal feeding. You're going to get a breakdown of guest happiness from now on as well, and this comes alongside a new change to the education management tab as well. So guests now, you're going to be able to have more information about where they're getting their information from, whether they're getting it from audio guides, whether they're getting it from billboards, whether they're getting it from the speakers, things like that. They're going to directly affect the education is going to directly affect the guest happiness. They're going to spend more money if they're more educated. We've got a little look at what this looks like at the tab of the website where this announcement took place, so we can see a little bit there. How many audio guides were sold, the time spent of the visit using them, how much of the influence of the education has come from billboards, has come from speakers, that kind of thing. So yeah, all great stuff. Really nice to be able to see whether your stuff is actually working in the game. This is a big one for me. Increased social interactions. All animals in the game, including Deluxe and Arctic Packs, will now trigger their social interaction animations more frequently. That's what I want to see. I want to see babies winding their parents up. I want to see mates coming and snuggling up more often. You know, that sort of stuff really makes the animals feel alive for me. Really glad to see that's been increased. Hopefully we can actually sort of see that in the game when we get hold of it. And here's a huge one. The negative impact of staff buildings has been reduced, as my son's enjoying himself. Building a shell around your staff buildings using walls or placing decorations around them, etc., can reduce the impact by 50%. You're going to need a scenery rating of the facility at 100% to get that 50% reduction, but it's still great. I would still maybe like a toggle in settings to turn that on and off in sandbox mode, but that's still a great feature. You make a building look nice, it's going to directly affect how little it affects your guests. Path system is seeing some improvements. You can now change a regular path into a staff path just by changing it like you would a texture, which is quite useful. Double clicking a piece of path will give you that path type and texture selected to carry on working with, which is pretty good as well. The step height is now going to half-meter increments as opposed to meter increments, which means we can do lower slopes and lower stairs, so exciting to see that as well. And then a few other little quality of life things. A search has been added to the Zoopedia. The units can be changed easily in there between meters and feet and things like that. And you can share research across multiple franchise zoos. The interesting bit we get to hear is that added creativity is coming. Alongside all these features and improvements, there will be a new enrichment items, building pieces and foliage. Amongst other items, there will be new tropical and moss rocks, as well as new glass panel pieces. We can see the glass panel pieces here in a promo shot that they put onto Twitter and onto Facebook. They look great, nice plain glass, just like we had in Planet Coaster. That's what we want. We can do a lot more with those than we can pieces of glass that have got big frames around them. Also, some of these pieces holding up the glass are new as well. Some of these sort of metal pieces that can make these awesome structures, they're new and they look pretty awesome. But also what I find quite interesting about this screenshot is all of that awesome bamboo stuff in the background. Check out that. That is all completely new. We haven't seen that before. Now, are we getting that as a free update as 1.2, or is that a classic Frontier sneaky peek? They love doing these things in screenshots. They claim they don't, but they do. They love hiding stuff like this. Is that a little sneaky peek at maybe new content? In the past, these free updates, especially towards the start of a game's development, more towards the start of a game's release, these free updates usually do come with their DLC tied in, but right now we just don't know anything about that. So we've got 1.2 update on the way. Maybe this includes this bamboo stuff. Maybe that's a hint of what's to come in the future. Who knows? But those glass pieces are fantastic. I've already got 5 places I want to put those straight into zoos I've already working up, where we've had to not be able to use them. So I'm really excited to have those, and they're off the grid obviously there you can see. So yeah, very useful pieces. Always like to see new bits of Lego coming to the game for us to play with. So this free update lands on April 7th. And we'll be using it all the time here on Geekism in the future. So keep it here. Make sure you've liked this video if you have liked it, and if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe for loads of creative play in various different games. We've got some Planet Zoo, we're playing Founder's Fortune, 2 Point Hospital, Foundation at the moment as well, and of course, while we're under this lockdown across the world, we are doing Quarant streams every day. Not quarantine, it's Quarant stream. We're playing Animal Crossing every single day at 1 PM Eastern Time, so make sure you head over for that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Till the next one, be good.